Hi, we're here today with Bruce Leon, who is the CEO of Tandem HR here in wonderful Chicagoland. Bruce, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John.
So tell me what Tandem HR is.
I'll kind of give you the elevator speech if I can. Tandem HR is a full-service PEO ASO outsourcing company. We basically do the back office administration for small, mid-sized companies, benefit administration, risk management, payroll, under one roof. We call it one sourcing. And really to help owners to focus on their core business and not have to worry about all the difficulties of being an employer today, which are getting increasingly more complicated in today's world.
That's got to be a good opportunity for small and mid-sized businesses who don't have the size yet to get some of the things that they need. Not just a payroll clerk, but you're doing true HR activities for them, right?
Right. We actually, our model is a high-touch model that actually puts HR professionals into offices, say 1 or 2 days a week, and builds on that and helps identify areas, strategic areas that they can actually help the owners grow their business. I think you touched on it exactly right. You know, I feel that we've been in a high growth area even since the recession. We grew 30% last year. We're about 33% this year. And I always joke I'm in a forum of other PE owners across the country through YPO, and I wasn't even in the top half of the 12 in the group at the 30% last year. So I say, wow, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You know, we're just in an area, and I tell many of my owners that whether you use me or use another company, if you have 30, 40 employees, you really should consider the one sourcing or the outsourcing, and I think more and more people are understanding that, and that's really causing the growth of the business. Of course, for us, we see that that's also going to cause a lot more competition because the companies that focused on just one area, if you just did payroll or you just did benefits or you just did, say you just did recruiting, you now see the value of a company going to a company that sort of does it all under one roof through one sort of system. And so there are many of those companies that are pairing up or coming up with competitive. So the landscape is growing, and we feel like we've been a pioneer. And
how long have you been in the business?
So we really, in Illinois, we've really been here since the beginning. '97 was when the licensing and the legislation for what's called co-employment, which allows us to sort of purchase group insurance under one roof and under one ID number and so on, came into being. So we've almost been here since the beginning. And it was a very small niche market at that time, but it's
how's it evolved? I mean, that's an area that's been evolving, and the models have changed.
Right, and it's gone cyclical. You know, in 2001 there were some failures, and we formed a bonding company called ESAC, and I've been a big proponent of that, a board member, and about 30 of the PEOs or outsourcing companies are part of this, which guarantees. Obviously, we're handling a lot of money for clients. I mean, you know, we have $300 million a year go through our system. Any one time, we have a fair amount with payroll and benefits and 401k and all that stuff. So, you know, there were a few stories out there that made the papers, and I always tell people if you want to steal $10 and risk your life and go hold up a 7-Eleven, that's one way, or you could. If you want to be a crook, and some of these other people did, you know, start a payroll and an outsourcing company and try to divert some of the money there. But we've cleaned it up, and so after that, starting these bonding companies and really cleaning out the industry, and now it really have some really well-known players, national players, publicly traded players. And I think the area now, when I talk to business owners, they no longer say, "Oh, what is that now?" They really say, "Oh, I understand that," and tell them about it. Chicago is a little more conservative an area. Other areas of the country, like Florida and California, New York, where the employment laws are even more complicated, you see much deeper penetration. So there's still a lot of room to grow here in Chicago. We do see some of the national people coming here, which is fine with us. They usually spend a lot of money in advertising. And our model is really, we're very locally focused. We actually turn down business if we can't get there within 3 to 4 hours, because our model is to be engaged with real people on the ground in the system. It's not with somebody just by telephone. You really feel that HR, we need to be there when you need to fire a key employee or when you need to sit down and talk about some major issue. It's better when you're in person than on the phone.
Now you've helped your customers go through change, obviously, in the last
Right.
few years. But if you're growing at that rate, you're obviously feeling some stretch yourself, aren't you?
It's almost a joke. It's been a long summer for me. My father had a little bit of an illness. He should only get better, and on top of that, we went through this sort of change management. And really, for me, it's been kind of an emotional experience. As you know, when you grow a business and you're 10, 20 people, you have leaders there.
It's the family, right?
And it's a family, and you know everybody. And as you get bigger, you have to change. And we're now creating a infrastructure that's going to be like having more of an operational center that's going to be more efficient, and we need to bring on some new leaders. Hopefully we can find the right place for everybody that's been with us, and we have some great people, so I'm pretty confident, but it does involve change, and we've brought together last week, and we sort of rolled out a 18-month, 2-year plan, which for me was a big deal. They all kind of laughed because I've operated businesses just on the basis of been in business since 8:30 this morning. You know, my feeling is, I got to just take care of the customer today. I didn't put together huge business plans throughout this thing. So, but I think at this size now, it needs to do. So I actually want to sort of take myself a little bit more out of the day-to-day and spend more time with customers in the field, so it's partly to relieve me. So I think we've got a good plan. We've had the consultants in and utilized all the different resources. I went outside, just like I tell my customers, you have to go outside. We also had to practice what we preach, so we went outside, and I think we've done a pretty thorough job, and we've got a good plan. But it is an emotional experience. You know, getting the right people on the right seat in the bus is tough, and as you grow a business, you constantly have to look and make sure that changes. And in today's environment, you can't just have C players mulling around. And I've done a number of talks recently for some nonprofits. And one of the things I tell them is, if you have an office administrator who's been with you 30, 40 years, maybe she's a widow and you feel sorry for her, but you have your big dinner coming up, and she's at the doctor all day, and then she's going to visit her sister, and she hasn't gotten the invitations out, and nobody in the office can work around that because they're so demotivated by seeing somebody like this. And I gave this talk and said, you have to do yourself. You have to make sure you've got A players. This is just a world. And afterwards, about 30 people that run nonprofits emailed me, you must have been talking about my business. They actually all thought it was there. And I said, no, that's just a common thing out there. So, we have to...
All too common, unfortunately.
Right.
Nonprofits and for-profits.
It's true.
Family-run businesses have, Uncle Harry in the back, and he's been there forever. Exactly. But he can't do what the business needs him to do today.
And sometimes the biggest thing I tell owners is, let us come in here and be the bad guys, so to speak. Let us help put Uncle Harry in the right place, or help put a severance package together for Uncle Harry, because you may have too many emotional ties. I even know myself, you can't always see the forest from the trees when you're inside of it, okay? But that's where you need to have somebody really professional using metrics that are good metrics. And I know both. Almost every time that happens, a year later you come to somebody and they say, how did I not do that 10 years later? And it's made such a big difference in my business.
And it also helps the other person. They probably feel that they're not contributing, absolutely, but the inertia of staying in that seat is too difficult for them to overcome. Helping them to find where they can grow again.
Yeah, part of our study, we did a market segmentation study. We gave all this data of 300 companies that we've been administering. And I happen to be a firm believer that small, mid-sized business is what's going to pull us out of the recession. One thing I love about this business is that I feel like we're leveling the playing field for them to compete against the big companies by offering Fortune 500 benefits. And I think they're great companies. Everyone has a story. I just love everyone. But in the study, we turned out that 50%, about 48% of our companies actually grew more than 7% employees over the last 2 years. And 35% were stable, meaning 0 to 7. Only about 14% of them showed decline. And we'd like to think that, A, it's because they had our services and we assist them. I'm sure that's part of it. But also it's because I think companies that are growing understand the value of managing that growth and doing the right thing. So many of them come from organizations like Vistage or YPO. They really understand that value. And that actually helps us a lot with our pools that we form. We've had no increase in our health insurance for 2 years, and part of that is that they've engaged wellness. They've engaged proactive things for employees that really have made the pool better. And so in a way, that sort of builds on success. But you're right. In order to grow a business, an entrepreneur has to sort of look back and sort of admit, I need to do things a little bit differently sometimes to grow the business. So.
And are you growing outside of Chicago as well?
So, we tried to open an office in Minneapolis a couple of years ago. Right now, we're very focused. If we can't get there within 3 or 4 hours, we really refer that out to good partners. I'm a big believer in the industry in general, and I feel we have many good competitors out there. Because our model, we like to be involved in the business. If somebody calls me, his brother in San Diego has a certain situation, I know a great company out there that can help them, or Orange County. So Right now, we feel like there's a lot of growth opportunities in Chicago still, and we really want to stay
Chicago
focused.
is growing. I mean,
Chicago's a
think
great
about it.
market. We're very involved in 1871. We thought the mayor and J.B. Pritzker did an unbelievable job promoting that last time. We were so proud to be a major sponsor of that event, and we feel there is a lot of room for opportunity to grow in Chicago. And truthfully, Chicago is a Midwest. I think Chicagoans like dealing with a local Midwest company.
Absolutely.
So we feel that that's a nice play when we're dealing with the big national competitors. So we like the Chicago market. Maybe if we expanded anything at all, it might be like to Milwaukee or to Indianapolis, kind of a Midwest flavor, St. Louis. But we feel we're very comfortable in this market right now.
Well, Bruce, I appreciate your being here with us today.
Thank you
Bruce
very much,
Leon,
John.
CEO of Tandem HR here in wonderful Chicagoland. Thanks for being my guest today.
Thank you so much.
CEO IntroNet TV, Chicagoland.
Thank you.